Hi guys, it's Esther Clark from BBC Good Food. Hope everyone's really well today. We are back again, live streaming today on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So there's lots of lovely questions hopefully coming in today. And I'm going to be joined by my lovely colleague Liberty, who is quite literally the baking queen. So she is coming on now. I'm just waiting for her to pop on. So do get your questions ready, guys. Any kind of baking questions that you might have for us or general queries. Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you. How have you been?
I'm really well, thank you. Yeah, I'm just excited for another baking live Q&A. I always like these ones. I think they're probably one of my favorites actually. It was quite interesting questions.
So many amazing baking questions. So yeah, if you have any cake queries, let us know.
I also feel like I always come away from these Q&As learning something from you.
No,
So
I learned
I've
so
got my
much.
pen.
Gonna be jotting down notes.
No. But we're writing recipes at the moment, aren't we, for some exciting baking that's coming up. So
Bacon.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, lots of seasonal baking coming up, which I'm really excited about. I'm actually testing a couple of things tomorrow. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So writing Christmas recipes, which is interesting.
Oh, right, we've had our first question in. So, what have you been baking the most in lockdown?
Brownies, mainly. I have been baking so many brownies just to like give to neighbours and to give to people that are feeling a little down. They're always a really good thing to have in stock.
A really good one, isn't it? Because it's very few ingredients
Mhm.
and easy to make.
Yeah.
You make it in a tray bake, so
Yeah, I've seen your amazing peanut butter ones as well. They look so good.
I love brownies because you can have them as kind of like an afternoon treat, or you can warm them up and have them as pudding. So I've also been making quite a lot of brownies and blondies. I know loads of people have been making cookies.
So many cookies. They've taken over Instagram.
Yeah, they really have.
Really. Oh, there's a question here that says tahini and buttercream, yes or no?
100%. Liberty's so excited by tahini and buttercream that she's fallen over. I'm going to say that I love tahini and bakes. It's like one of my absolute favorite things. So yeah, that kind of like nutty kind of savouriness in a buttercream goes really well. I think you can just whip a couple of tablespoons of tahini. I would go for like a light tahini as opposed to a dark one, through it buttercream and a really big pinch of salt, and it's super
Oh,
delicious.
okay.
Really good on chocolate cake, actually. Like really delicious. I kind of like a really dense, kind of like one of those Guinness chocolate cakes, stout chocolate cakes, and then a
Oh,
really buttercream.
amazing tahini swirled bread on the website. What was it called?
It's like a spiced tahini bread, and it's got sesame seeds, and then it comes with like a whipped tahini and honey butter. So I'm definitely all for sweet things with tahini, definitely.
Absolutely. Let's see what else we have.
Someone's saying, is vanilla extract necessary, or can I just leave it out, or what can I substitute it for?
So you can absolutely leave it out. It is a natural flavor enhancer. So vanilla is amazing for enhancing different flavors. So you can just leave it out and it won't drastically make a difference unless it is something like a creme anglaise or a custard or something that should be flavored like vanilla. But yeah, you can substitute it with, I know loads of people use once you've used the seeds out of a vanilla pod, they use the pod and have used that into like a tiny bit of vodka and then some water and some vanilla like stock syrup to make.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you do?
Well, yeah, I do find vanilla quite necessary in something like you said, like a custard or a creme pat. But yeah, if you don't have vanilla and you're making like a sponge cake and you want to add a bit of extra flavor to it, you could just zest a lemon into it or an orange. You could add another flavoring if you had some like almond essence if you wanted that. But I think it's kind of fine. Vanilla can be quite expensive. Another thing I do is if I use a vanilla pod for something, I just stick it in a big jar of caster sugar and it infuses that sugar, and it actually stretches it a really long way. So if you're kind of worried about spending money or that kind of thing, yeah, totally. I think that's a good way of making it stretch.
Oh, there's loads of buttercream questions.
Mm.
Um, so, how do you make a buttercream? One of the questions is. Do you make a normal one with butter and sugar, or what's
Mm.
your favourite way to make it?
Yeah, I do. I always just make a normal buttercream, just beat the butter and sugar together. That's my kind of, I go for quite a standard one. Sometimes if I'm doing a chocolate one, I'll beat in melted dark chocolate into it. That's probably what, like a sort of chocolate fudge icing.
Yeah.
You often make like a meringue buttercream, don't you?
So I've only just started this. There's a video on our Instagram TV of how I did it. But basically, I didn't have a thermometer to make an Italian meringue properly, which is basically when you make an Italian meringue, you heat up the sugar and then pour it into some egg whites, and then you beat in the butter to make it into a buttercream. Except I didn't have a thermometer, so I decided to make a Swiss meringue, which is basically all you do is heat up some egg whites and the caster sugar together so it dissolves, and then just beat it into a meringue and then chuck in some butter. It's the easiest, lighter. It's so much. It's not as sweet as a normal buttercream. So
Yeah.
try that.
I would say that I would always use, someone's just said icing sugar. I would always use icing sugar and butter. I would never use caster sugar. Although I have done like a brown sugar icing, which is
Oh,
really nice. I
good.
also in a buttercream with like dulce de leche, like a sort of caramel
Yeah.
vibe with salted caramel, which is really nice. Or you can make your own caramel, which I sometimes do, and then beat it through. That's really nice. I often make a cream cheese buttercream. I really like that kind of thing, like that slightly savoury vibe. So
Amazing. Oh, I love this question. It says, where does your inspiration come for new recipes?
oh my goodness. What about you, Liberty? You go first.
I do find it's obviously difficult to reinvent the wheel and to come up with something new every time. We've done so many bakes, but I tend to take inspiration from different recipes in the past that have worked and then what I can mishmash together. So what flavor combinations work and whether I can put it in a pie or a tart or whatever. Yeah, it's just trying to know what flavors go with each other, I think. Maybe. Yeah. What have you found?
I don't know. I think I'm really inspired by different countries I go to when we're allowed to travel, but also kind of Instagram, things I see on Instagram, things I've eaten. I'm really inspired by nostalgia. So things I've eaten as a child and kind of reinventing those and retro things. So yeah, and also, kind of chefs. I have a lot of cookbooks. I think I probably have, 1,000,000,000 cookbooks on my shelf. So yeah, lots of those kind of things.
Love it. So lovely. Um,
We got a good chocolate cake recipe for a birthday. Yeah, yeah, we get asked this question quite a lot. I really like Cassie's recipe on the website. I think it's called the anti-gravity cake. It's kind of it's like a sweetie falling cake, but the actual base for that chocolate sponge is really delicious. I think it's got that really kind of almost like American texture, quite squishy and moist. I would go for that if you're looking for a really good chocolate cake recipe. If you're a vegan or if you're dairy free, go for Juliet Sears vegan chocolate birthday cake on our website. I know we keep talking about this, but it's really good.
We do, but it is amazing. There is also there's a chocolate tray bake that I think is just called chocolate tray bake on the website. That is
like that too.
Incredible. And the icing is so easy. You basically just whisk icing sugar into some melted butter and let it set. It's so good. Let's see what else.
Questions today.
Lovely. Everyone loves baking. I have ripe bananas, but I'm bored of the usual bread. Suggest something else.
So many people seem to have ripe bananas at the moment. I'm not really sure what's going on. Is everyone getting bananas in their banana boxes? I think I would do. Sometimes I sort of use it as like a sugar substitute and pop it in a cake. It doesn't have to be like a solely banana cake. I've made sort of pecan chocolate and banana cookies before, which are really nice, kind of quite fudgy. Do you know, if your bananas are getting really ripe, just slice them up and freeze them in a freezer bag. And then you can use them for smoothies or one of those quick kind of frozen ice creams where you just whiz frozen banana and berries. That's probably what I do. Don't throw them away. Definitely freeze them.
Amazing. Yeah, freezer's always the best option. I just find and then it can never be asked to chop them up, so I just chuck a whole like rotting banana in the freezer and I pull it out and I'm like, why did I do that?
I've done the same, definitely. Someone's saying they've got rhubarb in their veg box. What can I make? I'm not a good baker, but I am a good cook. What could you do with rhubarb? There's so many things. I love that. You could. What would you do, Liberty?
Rosie Beckett has the most amazing rhubarb cake on the website if you do want to challenge yourself and do a bake. That is really, really, really delicious. So many people have been making it. So yeah, highly recommend that. What else would you do if you didn't want to bake?
I really like just making it a compote and rippling it through things. That's really easy if you're not kind of a cake baker or a pastry person. Yeah, someone's saying swirl into ice cream. That's a really good idea. You could make a no churn like yogurty Greek yogurt ice cream and swirl it through that. Or you could do like a custard base and you've got like a rhubarb and custard ice cream. Really, just really nice, really simply poached. I don't cook my rhubarb for very long. I just cut it into really thick slices and poach it for about 10 minutes so it's still holding its shape. I don't like it when it's all broken down. With a bit of brown sugar, a bit of vanilla or a squeeze of orange, a bit of orange zest, and then with granola. It's really nice.
Really, yeah, granola with like a ginger yogurt is really, really lovely.
And
Yeah.
you can freeze that as well because our season of rhubarb is really kind of dwindling now. So yeah. People are saying rhubarb full compote and porridge.
Yeah.
Exactly, great.
Perfect. Oh, we've got a scone question here. Scone. Oh.
Really excited.
I'm just far too excited about the scones. Someone is struggling to get a good rise. How would you fix that? What have you got any tips?
Yeah, don't overwork your mixture when you're kind of bringing it together. You don't really want to knead it like a bread. You almost kind of, even if it's a bit scrappy, it's better for it to be like that and you cut them out and them to look a bit scrappy on top than overworking it to make it all nice and smooth, because you're going to overwork that mixture. It's not going to rise very much. Make sure your flour's in date if you're using self-raising flour. If it's a bit old, it won't work. Make sure your oven's really hot when they go in so they get a big oven spring. I cut mine quite thick, so when it says to make 10, I usually make 8, I would say. What else would you do?
Egg washing mainly is a really, really big fault that no one thinks about. If you egg wash, you have to egg wash the top even, but if it does drip down the sides, that's going to prevent it from rising as well and as straight. So always make sure you're only egg washing the top and nothing around the sides.
Right.
And chilling your dough as well to get it perfectly cut out. The dough needs to be really, really cold in order for you to be able to cut things out really neatly. Yeah, interesting. They are such a skill to be able to make.
They are, but once you get it, I think it's one of those good skills to have. What else have we got here? Can I make ice cream without condensed milk? Without condensed milk and double cream. If you're making a no churn ice cream, you probably do need double cream in it. That's kind of the base of the ice cream. Yeah, have a look on our website. I mean, like, if you want to do like a vegan one, if you don't want to use, you could do your one, or you could do, like I was saying, just if you've got frozen bananas and frozen berries, you can make like an instant ice cream, just very quickly blitz them together, and you've got an instant ice cream. So that would be a good dairy-free option if you want to do it.
Lovely. Let's see. Oh my goodness. Cinnamon buns and everything are everywhere, but someone is asking, what other fillings can you use apart from cinnamon, peanut butter, or chocolate?
Oh my goodness, I feel like you know this. You've been doing lots of, sometimes I do like a frangipani type filling. So like an almond or like chopped. I mean, I know we said no chocolate, but I do like a sort of whizzed hazelnut and chocolate filling, like a homemade chocolate spread vibe. Or pistachios are really nice.
Lovely. Even just a bit of jam. You could put in like a little fruit compote into the middle of it, might be really lovely. So many options. Yeah. Oh, so good.
Curd, like a lemon curd or passion fruit curd. That would be nice.
Really lovely.
Why does my sponge sink in the middle? Well, there are many different reasons for that. Baking is such a technical thing, and I would say you have not baked your mixture quick enough as soon as it's made. So the baking powder and the self-raising flour start reacting. You need to bake that straight away as soon as that's mixed up. You kind of want to work quite speedily to get them in the tins, in the oven. You want to make sure your oven's very well preheated. You want to make sure your butter and your sugar are really well beaten together, and then when you beat in your flour, you don't want to overwork it, so you just want to give it some good stirs with a metal spoon. What else, Liberty, is there?
Patient and open the oven after it's only had like 10 minutes.
The key
it won't. So just don't open the oven. Just don't do it. Like I'd always leave it at least 25 minutes before I open the oven door. Yeah.
Someone's saying any cherry recipes, particularly for cupcakes. I think we have got some cherry and chocolate cupcakes on the website actually. And I wrote a cherry crumble cake last August. So
That was incredible.
Strewy by, very easy, nice.
So lovely. Oh, okay. Techniques for the best cookies. What are they? There are so many. What would you recommend? Okay. I found out recently that melted butter makes a really lovely chewy consistency for the cookies. So Barney has written a recipe for like best ever cookies where he browns the butter, which is just taking it a step further and making it like really like nutty, delicious flavor. So I'd recommend that. What else?
Big pinch of salt in your cookies, really important. Big pinch of sea salt. Sometimes I finish mine with a little bit of sea salt as well. Really nice because cookies are really sweet, so you need something to cut through that and balance it all together. I use a really good quality dark chocolate. Yeah, tapping the tins before they go in. What else? A mixture of sugars is always quite good, I think, brown and golden. And I sometimes use a different flour, so I'll sometimes do kind of 30% rye flour or spelt flour because it gives a really nice malty texture to a cookie.
Lovely. Yeah, especially and if you tap the tray, so once they're cooked, if you tap them as they have puffed up a bit, they will flatten back down and you'll have like a normal cookie shape, which is always good.
Don't overcrowd the pan, the baking sheet. I usually batch cook my cookies in 3 batches, so 3 different trays, as opposed to one, because then they spread and that's where you get problems. What else have we got? So we've had the cookies. What is your favourite cake to make in the summer?
Oh, there's so many. I love anything to do with strawberries, any berries. I know you do not. This is where we differ.
But strawberries, but yeah, I mean, you've made some amazing kind of berry based things, haven't you?
Yeah, I love them. Let's try and think. Also, best summer dessert is your retro trifle. Always goes down a treat. I know it was in the Christmas issue, but summer all the way.
I like that. That's a good idea. I like that. What else is there? I just like a really good baked tart in the summer, actually. Just like a nice kind of simple baked tart. Anything with apricots, so like an apricot and yogurt cake is nice. Anna Glover wrote an apricot and Greek yogurt cheesecake, which is really nice with honey.
That's so lovely. Absolutely. Nice. Someone's asking if they can use frozen berries in cakes. Yes, absolutely. They're such an amazing way to use up them if you've got them in the freezer. But what I would say is defrost them partially and strain them through a sieve before you cook with them and before you stir them into like sponge batter, just so they don't release as much liquid and you're left with a kind of soggy cake.
Soggy. That's a really good tip. I like that.
Let's see what else.
Best vegan cake. Juliet says vegan cake on our website, which I've mentioned before. Cake. Placement in cakes. Do you? I think they're a good kind of measurement, isn't there? Sort of flaxseed mixed with water is what we found to be the best substitute.
Yeah, really wonderful. And we've also got loads of amazing vegan cakes that don't have any eggs in, if you want to check those out. Really, really good. Let's see. How can I stop my cake burning on top when it hasn't been cooked in the middle yet?
Well, your oven might be up slightly high if that's happening. If it shouldn't really do that. I think that's kind of if your oven's kind of playing up. I know that my oven here runs a little bit higher than my one back in London, so I just have to turn it down. I get yourself an oven thermometer. They're really good. You can get them online. I think they're probably only about £5. That's probably what's happening. Or you've got too much sugar in your sponge, so it's catching on the outside. Or you've got the top oven on as opposed to kind of full fan, which might be causing that as well. That's probably the only things I can think of.
Yeah, brilliant. I love this one. What's the most unusual ingredient you've ever baked with?
Goodness, what have I baked with that's unusual? I mean, we went through kind of a weird phase of baking with matcha. I thought that was quite weird. Like I
Yeah.
like it, but it does have a sort of slightly salty seaweedy taste. I think matcha does. Gosh, I don't know. Liberty, I feel like you maybe
No,
you've
stop it.
been for some interesting things before.
Have. Oh, the weirdest thing was that when I used to work, I worked in the House of Commons for a little while, and we were commissioned to make a Churchill themed afternoon tea, and so we did one of like a little pipe. It looked like a chocolate cigar, and
Oh,
we'd put in like smoke into the chocolate, and so it tasted like it was lovely. It was like an earthy kind of smoky
oh
flavour.
wow.
So we popped that in, and that was amazing. So yeah, I think that was the most unusual, probably.
I like that
Andy Ditchfield.
one.
I'm thinking, okay.
Judy Ward from New Zealand. Oh wow, all the way from New Zealand, amazing. I make friands here often. Do you ever make them? I really like those. Yeah, I kind of something I'd maybe make for like a dinner party or like if it was a special occasion. It's not something I make very often, but I do really like them.
I love making little mini ones as well. Really, really delicious, just for like a little afternoon tea or something.
I've got some friands on the website actually, some raspberry ones.
Let's see. What is your favourite classic bake?
What is my favourite classic bake? There are so many. I'm quite a sucker for a good lemon drizzle cake, like that kind of lovely, crunchy, lemony topping. That's a big one for me. I just like a chocolate fudge cake. I love scones.
Absolutely.
I love rock cakes.
Do you?
Weird one. I love them. My mum makes really good rock cakes, very like delicious and buttery and good.
Would you make them yourself though, or would you only eat them with someone?
Well, no. My mum has to make them. Sorry, mum. My mum has to make them. What about you?
Oh, classic bake. I love a good sponge pudding with custard.
Yum.
Absolutely old school, like school dinners vibes. Yeah, have to have sprinkles on top.
Yum. So go to comfort bake for a rainy day. I suppose like what Liberty was just saying, I'd go for like a sponge pudding or a jam roly poly with custard. Anything hot, like a warm, like I love British kind of suet sponge puddings and sticky toffee puddings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then you eat out of a bowl with a pool of custard at the bottom.
So brilliant, especially for weather like this that we're having at the moment.
Okay.
Let's see. So many questions.
Best fudge recipe?
Best fudge recipe. We have so many fudge recipes.
We do.
When it comes to Christmas time, we go full in with the fudge, and so we have loads on the website. Just have a look there. Every flavour.
Chocolate fudge. It's like a chocolate and almond, or like a chocolate. It's like a fridge. The words aren't coming out. A fridge fudge. I think that's really good.
Hard to say.
I'm saying it really quickly.
Okay. Do you use light cheese in your cooking? Someone's saying.
I've got to say, I'm not a big fan of a lychee.
Interesting.
I'd be lying if I said I was. There's something about the texture of them that I don't love. There's a few things I don't eat. But
especially the ones.
Oh yeah, I've got some memories as a child. I think you could make like a tropically trifle or something like that. That's kind of what I'm thinking, like coconutty, creamy vibes. I'm not sure I'd put them in a sponge cake, would you? I think they'd probably sink and go a bit.
They'd be they're very liquidy, so you'd have to water the sponge texture. What we have done on the other end of the spectrum on Halloween is that we made a punch and used them as eyeballs.
I've seen that we done with one.
Great eventful one. So
saying savoury bake suggestions. We're overloading on sugar but still want to bake. My goodness. Well, I really like so kind of we've got these kind of sort of almost like a cinnamon bun, but they're savoury on the website with kind of pine nuts and pesto and sun-dried tomatoes and like gooey cheese. I've just written a recipe for cheese, ham, and mustard kind of tear and share bread, which is really yummy and buttery. I really like that. I think we've got a savoury flapjack.
Oh, we do. Yeah.
Raspberry flapjack. I don't know if that's been published yet. I think it has.
So many. Oh, I love it.
Flapjack.
I love baking. And I also love baking. I don't know if it counts pastry, like making quiche. I think it's so satisfying. So yeah, so many bakes. So lovely. Even like cornbread.
No bake recipes. Oh, good question.
Ooh. I love a no bake. Let's think. Something like a no bake cheesecake always goes down well. Yeah, really.
Like Cassie's vegan millionaire shortbread on the website. I think that's no bake. It's like a raw kind of raw vibe. It's so delicious. It's made with kind of dates and they taste really caramelly. I really like that one. I've made that before. I'm not even vegan, but I think it's delicious.
So lovely. Let's see. Best summery fruit pie recipes, and can you use tinned fruit?
Yeah, you definitely can. Cherry pie, delicious. You can do kind of if you did like an almondy pastry, you've got like a sort of cherry baked pie vibe going on. I love tinned apricot, so I'd probably do like a tinned apricot and maybe raspberry or loganberry. I've got some loganberries in the garden, so it could be sort of like a peach melba vibe, apricot melba. What other fruits could you put in a?
Nice. So many. Yeah, any stone fruit like peaches or I always have tinned fruit in the cupboard. So of course you can use like tinned apricots and tinned really whatever you have. Yeah, really lovely.
Make sure my galette stays in shape when baking and the frangipane layer.
Queen, I have to say. Your like chocolate hazelnut one will go down in history.
Oh, I do love a galette because they're just so easy. Someone's saying, yeah, so my galette, how do I get my galette to stay in shape when baking? The frangipane doesn't cover the fruit above. So you probably don't want to put too much of a layer of frangipane. You might be going a bit too heavy on the frangipane. Another thing I'd say is if you've overbeaten it, like beaten the sugar, it's going to like puff up a bit.
Yeah.
Too many eggs in it. Just do a really good layer of fruit over the top of it and don't go too thick on the frangipane because it will just puff up and cover that. We've got a really nice one. Peach galette.
Yeah.
On the website, really delicious. So follow that frangipane base, and then go crazy with the fruits.
Yeah, the pastry in that is amazing as well. Let's see. I'll take this one. Best berry recipe.
Yeah. I feel like I'm coming out in hives even thinking about berries.
Let's see. So many. As I said before, I love sticking them in a sponge and whipping them into the icing as well is really, really lovely. Love setting them in some jelly as part of a trifle. Just love berries. I've written a strawberry tart recipe that should be coming up on the website in the next couple of days. So look out for that.
It looks so good. It's on your Instagram page, isn't it? If anyone wants to look at delicious baking recipes, follow Liberty because
if anyone wants to get the
all day
amazing sourdough loaves you've ever seen, Esther is your girl.
So someone's saying tips for getting someone who's just getting into baking. I think start with like the basics. Get yourself a couple of really good 20 centimeter sandwich cake tins. They're probably my most used cake tins, a loose bottom one and a loaf tin maybe online. Make a lemon drizzle loaf. That's really easy. Try and nail a Victoria sponge. Again, kind of all those classic easy bakes. Just nail that kind of, that classic sponge that you can also use in cupcakes. If you're someone that wants to do a bread, start on a soda bread and then move on to a white loaf. But you can just go to your supermarket and spend, 20 or 30 pounds on stocking up your cupboard. I think it's always really good. It lasts.
I think like a good step palette knife and a spatula really are my two most used things.
Yeah, I think that's good. And just the cake tins, some baking parchment.
Yeah. What was one of your first things you started off baking?
Fairy cakes, I think. I always did little fairy cakes. That was our thing. And then rock cakes. That's probably why I like rock cakes as well. Really easy.
Let's see what else we have.
Any ideas? Oh, sorry.
That was literally the one I was about to read.
I like this question. Any ideas for an unusual pavlova filling?
I love a pavlova.
There was
a time in the test kitchen where we used to use up all of the leftover ingredients we had on a Friday.
Right.
So I miss it so much. I made a white chocolate and peanut butter pavlova that had a brown sugar cream. I think it was an event.
There was a
The most unusual pavlova I ever made. Didn't have much fruit in it, but
I think I would do like just basically turn anything I really like into a pavlova. So maybe do like a banoffee pie one, crumble some like digestive biscuits over the cream, whip some caramel through the cream, slice bananas, maybe do a cherry bakewell one. That would be really nice.
absolutely. Oh my goodness.
My goodness, we've come to the
Pavlovas all day. But oh my, it's the end.
pavlova. Okay, guys. Well, make sure you join our Facebook group, BBC Good Food Together. It's a community of people all sharing what they've been making and asking any questions they have, and it's great. I'm on it. It's really worth checking out. People are sharing ideas every day, and that's really nice.
Sure, and people are just sharing tips and tricks and different things that they can make. Yeah. We are also running an amazing campaign called bakebecauseyoukfood.com/.
Yeah, and then any pictures that you post on Instagram, if you just hashtag them, stay safe, get cooking, so we can see what you're baking, and you might get a reshare.
And also, if you have missed watching this, I know a couple of people have just joined now. It is saved onto our Instagram TV later. So yeah.
And YouTube as well, if you want to see it on there. So yeah, it'll be on the grid in probably about 10 minutes time. So yeah, just have a look. We're also here every day at 3 p.m. We rotate what we do. So I think there's Friday is cocktails, Monday is sourdough. So you check out what we're doing there. All right, thanks guys. Thanks Liberty. It was nice to see your face.
Esther, lovely to see you.
Bye.
Bye.